This remarkable video shows a black orb gliding across the sky before it suddenly takes off and vanishes, closely trailed by a couple of standard planes that people are calling UFOs. I'm not sure why. Of course, the orb grabs your attention the most. It's eerily similar to the UFO the US Pentagon released footage of over Iraq. Additional videos have captured this same entity, which witnesses have called a self-lit sphere about 6 feet wide. It was actually seen buzzing the Navy warship Omaha and was caught on thermal cameras during the night. This glowing dot darting over the Omaha is still a baffling mystery, with analysts stumped about its origins and its sudden disappearance into the sea. To this day, the mystery remains as experts and UFO enthusiasts pore over the clips. Well, what do you guys make of it? I'd love to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. A family video taken on an Oregon beach has seemingly captured something very unexpected. As the kids and their mother drift along the shoreline playing and gathering shells, Dad stands in the background filming them. You can tell this is a really peaceful scene. Dad eventually scans the camera to the right to take in the beautiful cliffs and scenery, but he soon catches something that is a little startling. Did you see it? A big hairy creature emerges from between the rock formations. The clip cuts off there, but if we go back and take another look at the creature, yeah, I feel like this could only be one thing. In 2019, a woman and her family took a trip to a lodge, planning to stay for a few nights. However, the woman immediately felt uneasy as soon as she stepped on the property. After the first night with barely any sleep, she and her family went snowmobiling the next day, and she could never shake the uneasy feeling. It followed her around. Later that evening, as she helped her kids get ready for bed, she went to close the blinds, and what she saw outside the window stopped her in her tracks. As she continues to watch in horror, a tall man dressed in all black is approaching their cabin. He eventually stops in the snow and stares directly at her. Thankfully, the doors were locked and they called the police, who arrived quickly, but they never caught the guy. This is just a hysterical video. Well, for us. As this guy is running away from this brutal pit bull attack with his life flashing before his eyes, he bites it in the road and the dogs rush over to sniff and lick him. Oh my gosh. Honestly, when he lays there, it looks like he just gives up. Like his fate was sealed. He was about to be ripped to shreds by these sweet dogs. Ugh, this had me laughing so hard. A perplexing incident caught the attention of both paranormal enthusiasts and skeptics. Jennifer Hodge, a resident of Atlanta, Georgia, reported an astounding occurrence involving her home security camera. While watching TV in bed with her daughter Lauren, Jennifer received a phone alert indicating there was someone in her kitchen. When she checked the footage, she was taken aback. The image displayed a male figure bearing an astounding resemblance to her son Robbie. The unbelievable part is that Robbie had tragically died 2 years earlier from a drug overdose. The security camera, like most designed to be activated by movement, had captured the image of what seemed to be a transparent figure, even displaying a beard similar to Robbie's. The figure appeared to be wearing white pajamas. Acting quickly on instinct, Lauren dashed to the kitchen. However, she found no signs of any intruder and the mysterious figure had disappeared. Jennifer described the clarity of the image as eerily sharp, almost as if depicting a man who was right there. The initial feeling of sadness they felt was real, but over time, Jennifer found a sense of peace in this occurrence. She has begun to wonder if this might be a sign that Robbie is all around them, or that he's at peace somewhere in the afterlife. Yet, she openly admits to being in a whirlwind of emotions: shock, disbelief, confusion, describing the whole event as both insane and crazy. She can't help but remember Robbie, who died at the age of 23. He was a warm-hearted person. Jennifer and her daughter have started a charity. A charity created to fight addiction through real estate initiatives has gained both local and national acclaim. Jennifer has expressed a desire to find others who might have had similar experiences, hoping to compare notes and perhaps find answers. She'd love to know if there are any more instances where home security cameras have caught similar apparitions. While she continues to process this shocking incident, the memory of Robbie remains strong and ever-present. But the incident undeniably underscores the lasting impressions family bonds can leave, transcending even death. I mean, for as long as I can remember, the sky has always gripped my curiosity. Even with countless reports of weird stuff up there, some incidents still manage to whip people up into a frenzy. Take this one for instance. Over in North Philadelphia, there was this odd cloud flickering with lights that came down from the sky and disappeared behind a house. Yes, you're right, that's not typical cloud behavior. And it definitely did not go unnoticed. It even hit the news, Fox and ABC. Turns out this wasn't a one-off though. Plenty in the comments said they've spotted this bizarre cloud dropping out of the sky around the same spot before. Some from different corners of the globe even. They've claimed they've witnessed something similar. The guesses on what it can be are all over the place. One person figured it might be a drone disguised as a cloud. Another was dead set on it being a UFO, pointing to those blinking lights as proof of aliens. And lots of people seem to buy that idea. Yet with all the talk and theories, there are folks in the paranormal circles who are calling bluff on this whole thing. They're suggesting it's a fake out to stir up chaos in their community. Others are saying that it might be a contraption for weather control. I think that's where I'm leaning. Alright, so this freaks me out a little bit. As a kid, I saw a movie of some giant killer attack rabbits, so this hits a nerve. And while these pictures don't match the movie, these show something else. It's kind of like a rabbit head, but it doesn't fit the bill because there's a human-like body. Now, my gut tells me these aren't real. I'm almost positive that creatures like this don't exist. I've spent a lot of time in the woods. However, there is a whole faction of people suggesting that these have been around the area for some time. And even people in the comments, everyone that mentioned it, they would not say where they lived. They were keeping that part under wraps. One story goes that a family has kept these humanoid rabbits as a closely held secret, and this is an apparent photo of them captured in the woods. I mean, this is just downright bizarre, right? I mean, has anyone ever bumped into anything like this in the woods? In this striking photo, we've got a pair of mysterious figures that catch the eye with their peculiar stance. The one on the right is covered in dark fur and stands as tall as the trees nearby, making for quite the sight. On the flip side, the one on the left strikes a different pose, kind of knelt down, crouched, but also covered in brown fur. Now, it's not possible to say what they are, but this type of thing is what fires up the imagination. Some say they're signaling to each other or taking part in some kind of custom. I mean, maybe they're both staring at something off in the distance, or perhaps it's just a random meetup in the wild. Anyhow, this image gives us a glimpse of what might be a couple of Bigfoot-like figures. Doing the graveyard shift as any worker can be a pretty solitary gig, with nothing but the night sky for company. But on one memorable night, a watchful guard at a pipeline station had an experience that would haunt him with PTSD for a lifetime. As he made his rounds, like he's done 1,000 times, he was stopped in his tracks. He spotted something bizarre slipping out of the darkness. A weird, pale, hairless figure briefly appeared before darting into the woods. Yeah, what was that? You can see its hunched over walk, and that sent shivers right down the guard's spine. He said screw it, not taking any chances, he booked it out of there. But what was that thing? Maybe you guys have an idea, I'm not sure. Alright, if you have a dog, I'm willing to bet this has happened to you. Look at this black lab putting himself in timeout after he ate the family's entire chicken parmesan dinner. I can't play the original audio because of copyright, but basically the dad is like, dude, what happened? Tell us. You just ate an entire chicken. Do you have any idea what you've done? He goes on to also tell him, you owe me 20 bucks. But anyway, it looks like it was all in good fun, and the guy got a good meal, and he's put himself in timeout. He's fine. Let him out. Everything's fine. That video is hysterical. I mean, growing up, my dog ate an entire turkey off of our oven. I mean, she threw up for days afterwards. We were lucky because none of the bones splintered, but it was a mess. Oh, man. Imagine it's a perfect afternoon. You're taking pictures of all the scenery, the sunset, and boom, you snag something on film that you just cannot explain. You double check the video on your phone and yep, there's definitely something there that shouldn't be, we'll say. You pinch yourself and you realize you're not in a movie. Well, that's what went down for Ishi Arredondo in Texas while filming the recent April 8th eclipse in the US. So during the eclipse, there's a clear shot of what seems to be a shadowy figure cruising across the sky. And it doesn't seem like your average plane, chopper, drone, kite, hot air balloon, whatever. Totally stumped by what he filmed, Ishi threw the video up on TikTok and it exploded with 35 million views and a ton of comments in a very short time. Some folks are convinced it's just a plain shadow on the clouds, while others are tossing out wilder guesses, like a demon or even a dementor. Now, it could be a plain shadow, but here's the kicker, it wasn't just spotted in Texas. This thing was seen across the US, down in Mexico and other spots too, which is when it really gets weird. The same eerie shadow was also caught by Reddit user Affectionate Ty in Buffalo, New York. The photo they snapped shows not one, but 4 shadowy figures in the sky. And it's not looking anything like a plain shadow. Let's bounce down to Mexico and New Jersey. Caesar in Mexico at about the same time and Maria in New Jersey caught the same figures on their phones. Like the others, the shadow just pops up out of thin air. Lastly, a clip taken outside of Dallas by Fine Apple makes it pretty clear. This isn't any typical flying object making a shadow. It's like a shadow figure dropping from the heavens. Thankfully, Fine Apple zooms in. And what do you know? The quick-moving shadow resembles the ones seen by Maria in Texas. I don't know if you guys have seen any of this, but I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and this thing is really gaining some steam online. Everyone's got a theory. Some think it's a comet shadow or just an object way high in the sky. But then we have the faction that says it's something way more chilling, like demons have been let loose by the eclipse portal. Last but not least, people have also mentioned feeling an odd vibe on the day of the eclipse. Personally, I don't have any idea what this thing could be. My best guess was a plain shadow, but man, that plane would have to be moving pretty fast. I guess we can start with the basics. Do we think this is just an everyday shadow, or is this something more mysterious? There's something lurking in this cornfield, getting closer by the second. TikToker Cryptic caught something straight out of a scene from Jeepers Creepers. The moment they whip around to leave, whatever it is starts sprinting. What's hiding among the corn? A bunch of commenters reckon it's a cryptid. Maybe it's from another planet or some kind of nocturnal hunter. They got a shot of it on video, and to me it looks like a person. And honestly, if that is a person, I feel like that's creepier than any of the other guesses. Like, what are you doing out there? Go home.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of Dread Captures. This week, we're going to see an unknown creature followed by helicopter, a run-in with Mothman, an unidentified flying being, a heartfelt rescue, and a bizarre submission from a viewer looking for answers. Let's get into the clips. Our first video takes place in February of 2011, where a family has gone out to do a little target practice. The father has set up some bottles and cans as targets, and as you can see, is showing his son how to aim the rifle. The wife who posted the video said that there was a helicopter circling them the entire time. She thought they might be circling because they saw them shooting in the field, but she quickly realized that the helicopter wasn't after them. In the video, after the son fires the .22, Dad grabs the shotgun. He's excited. His father starts clapping, and almost simultaneously you can see Dad turn his head, and he notices the figure in the top right of your screen running. Even after he gets the gun from his son, you can see him look back over to his right. For now, everyone else seems to be oblivious. Let's slow it down. There's the black figure running. I'll highlight it for you guys. In the last few frames of the clip, you can see the figure has gone from running to crouched on all fours on some rocks. Many people that have seen the video have said that the government was on a covert mission hunting Bigfoot. And now, if this creature isn't a Sasquatch or a dogman or any of the above, what could it be? The only other thing I could think of is that maybe someone escaped from police custody or a jail, or he's a suspect on the run. That would help explain the helicopter. I am very interested in what you guys think about this one. Please let me know. Now, the backstory of this video is amazing if true. A drone was said to have captured this tree moving violently in the forest. People claiming to have seen something similar before say it is the work of a Bigfoot shaking a tree, which would be a very impressive feat for sure. Admittedly, the more I watch it, the more skeptical I become. Has anyone ever seen anything like this? In an eerie video coming out of a suburban neighborhood in Randolph, Massachusetts, a flock of turkeys are shown circling a dead cat for hours. More and more turkeys began to emerge from the nearby woods and join in on the infinite loop. Very creepy for sure. If anyone has any insight on this event, I'd love to know more. In my last video, I mentioned to someone in the comments that creepy kids scare me as much as anything caught on camera. And this particular girl right here scares the bejesus out of me. So needless to say, our next Trailcam capture made my heart drop. Taken at 2:45 a.m. on October 15th of 2015, a trail camera set up to track the movement of gray wolves on a man's property revealed this terrifying photo. As you look near the tree, you can see the back of a young girl walking away from the camera. If you look closely, you can see she's clutching a teddy bear or some sort of stuffed animal. What is she doing out there? Could there be a campsite nearby or a home she is sleepwalking from? Is she a ghost? All I do know is that she's way too young to be in those woods at night. A man in Kentucky put a trail cam up behind his house after finding mysterious holes being dug on his property. It's very hard to see the figure against the backdrop of night, but you can see the outline of a man or creature walking. He isn't sure what he's looking at here, and neither am I. We do agree that it looks like a creature with a thick, dark hair, but you be the judge. As far as the mysterious holes, they are still showing up. The following adventure was caught on the next best thing to the trail camera, the Ring doorbell camera. And as you'll see, it's quite the mismatch. A 20-pound Frenchie named Jules is catching some shade on the front stoop of her home when three very unwanted guests show up. As you can see, Jules doesn't hesitate and flies down the stairs, ready to fight. Two of the bears that are in camera view are visibly stunned at this little pup charging at them. Jules nips and annoys the bears until they decide to retreat, proving the old adage true. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. And I have a feeling Jules will enjoy all the treats she can handle. Talk about a heavyweight matchup between two of the most skilled scavengers in the entire animal kingdom. A bald eagle squares off with a coyote for what's left of a deer carcass. The video was taken in the Swan Valley of Montana, just north of Missoula, Montana. Two animals with the taste for deer meat. While the coyote has a big size advantage in terms of weight, the eagle's massive wingspan makes the canine look small by comparison. The two animals continue to spar back and forth in this chess match, and at one point a sneaky crow even tries to get in on the action. Ultimately, the eagle ends up disappearing with a healthy piece of meat in its mouth, while the coyote presumably was able to chow down on the rest. Now, I have seen the following video pop up on social media and some other sites that I follow, but I've never heard a good explanation of what it is. I haven't been able to find where this took place or many other details. What I personally see is some type of strange alien creature crawling awkwardly on a dirt road. To me, it seems to be in more of a feminine shape, covered in a grayish-brown skin, but that's not even the weird part. Its hands and fingers look to be abnormally large and pointy and just otherworldly. Its head has a strange shape, and at first glance looks like this prop from the movie Alien. Is that what this entire clip is? A prop? A hoax? Or something more sinister? If anyone knows, please comment down below with as much info as possible. This amazing clip captured in night vision shows a mountain lion attack on a deer trying to quench his thirst in a nearby stream. The mountain lion pounces on its prey. When we slow it down, we can see that the deer never saw the lion coming. A perfectly stealthy attack, most likely ending in a healthy meal for the lion. By now, we should all know that moms are the best. No matter which animal species you encounter, mothers are always willing to go to any lengths to protect their young. A trail camera placed near a wolf's den captured a touching moment when a mother wolf has realized that her pups are in danger. The snow and ice around the den was thawing and filling it up with water. This was potentially going to drown the young pups if she didn't act fast. As her instincts kicked in, you can see her quickly plucking each one out to safety. This looks to me like another instance of Mother Knows Best. This photo was reportedly captured on a cell phone in West Virginia. If you're a cryptid enthusiast, then you have no problem identifying this creature. If you're not familiar, this is a photo of Mothman, a humanoid creature with wings. Mothman was first reported in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in the 1960s. A couple reported they saw a large, gray, flying creature with glowing red eyes. After the initial sighting, people came out of the woodwork claiming they had seen something similar. The most notable characteristic that they all mentioned was his menacing red eyes. Soon, Mothman sightings had taken over. Research has proven that there are elaborate hoaxes that have been mixed in with factual evidence, making it impossible to say one way or another whether these creatures exist. You be the judge, and I'd love to know if anyone has had any Mothman experiences. Speaking of Mothman, this alarming video had many people stumped when it flew onto mainstream television. A man from California taped this and honestly thought he was witnessing Jesus Christ descend from heaven. Now, I don't know what this is, but I'd have to agree that I see a silhouette of a man and he does look like he's floating down from the sky. The man said he continued to float until he disappeared to an unknown location. The man was also adamant about what he saw and noted that he lives near an airport, so it couldn't have been a drone or other flying object, because they aren't allowed in the airspace. Could this be something we aren't supposed to know about? Maybe a government entity? Or an alien? Drop me a comment about what you might think this is. Now this clip will get the adrenaline pumping.
Get off the track!
And finally, at the last minute, he gets him loose. And thank goodness, owner and dog are safe. That's a solid camera capture. Glad everyone is safe. This next Trailcam capture is pretty exciting. It was sent in to me at stories@dread.army by Kyle R. from Virginia. Kyle put up a trail camera to keep an eye on a little path he has on his property. The path weaves and winds down to the water's edge where he has his boat docked. He primarily put it up to just be aware of who's using the path, and he has seen the usual wildlife native to Virginia. Deer, squirrels, all the birds you can count. Probably the most interesting thing he's come across is a flock of turkeys, and a few teenagers looking for a place to hang out. That was until he realized his camera had captured this disturbing photo. The photo shows a seemingly gigantic winged lizard or frog with black dead eyes. I'm literally guessing at what this is. Its wingspan covers the lens and has at least 2 but possibly 4 feet with talons. The wings seem to have almost a butterfly pattern on them. Nobody seems to know what this is. Kyle sent it in hoping the creature could be identified. But like him, I've never seen anything like this. Please drop me a comment if you have any ideas what this thing could be.
In a bustling city in the Philippines, a motorcyclist's routine ride takes an unsettling turn. The road he's traveling is infamous for its deadly past. This place is chock full of numerous traffic fatalities, mostly due to bad signage, bad lighting, bad drivers, you name it. But what happens next is pretty extraordinary. As the man's riding his motorcycle, suddenly a figure seems to leap directly into the path of him. You can see he swerves a little bit. Instinctively, the rider glances back, but the road is clear. There's no sign of anyone. The oddity deepens with the rider's claim that the figure had no discernible face. When he looked where the face should be, it was just an obscure, dark shape. Locals suggest he might have encountered a ghost or a restless spirit from one of the road's tragic events. But let's just say the supernatural isn't at play. What the heck was that? It looked pretty real to me. I don't know, I'm leaning towards a ghost, but share your theories. Hitting the woods for a camping trip with friends can be a top-notch way to just hang out and get in touch with Mother Nature. Well, at least until night falls and an unexpected occurrence sends you into freak-out mode. That's what we see here with a bunch of these teenagers that are camping out in the Michigan forest. Most likely these guys are just looking for a good time, happy to be away from their parents and just hanging with themselves. But things get real creepy real fast. The guys start hearing these growling noises not far off, right outside their tents. And when one of them flicks on their flashlights, they spot these skinwalkers lurking around like they're in some sort of horror flick. You can tell the moment the pure panic hits for these guys, and they book it out of there. Come to find out, they left everything, their tents, their cooking gear, they left all their gear behind. So let's put some level-headedness on this. What do we think is going on here? Could their imaginations be running wild? Or do we really think they're being hunted by skinwalkers? Either way, if their reactions are genuine, you can tell that the woods left a mark on them for sure. In a bold act, we can see this jaguar has rushed onto this local road. And instead of attacking, you can see that she's vying for their attention, trying to get them to pay attention to her. Scared and unsure what's going on, one man pushed the jaguar to the side. Really just couldn't believe what he was seeing. But the jaguar didn't give up. There was a forest ranger in the group, and he noticed that something was wrong. The jaguar gravitated towards him, almost like he knew, okay, you're going to be the one that's going to help me, you'll understand. The jaguar pulled on him, and eventually the man followed. As the jaguar ran down the road and the men followed for about 10 minutes, they eventually got to a well where the jaguar's cub had fallen in. The park ranger quickly called a rescue organization, and they came to the site. The cub was struggling and wasn't going to last much longer. They put their heads together and decided to lower a trap cage, which hopefully the cub would enter itself and be able to be pulled up. The mother jaguar anxiously watched from a tree as her cub, realizing the cage was her only hope, eventually got in and the rescuers pulled her up. But they weren't done there. They needed to safely put her back into the wild. And once they did, you could see the gratitude on the mother's face. Just an unbelievable story. Okay, so back a few videos ago, I mentioned seeing videos online about people having their Ring cameras hijacked and how they can basically see inside your home They get your password, hack in, and they can see what you're doing. And they target kids. It's super creepy. So I'll set the stage for you. This takes place in the family home of the Kristalics. Basically, they have their camera perched atop the counter, just in their living room. While their youngest daughter is watching TV, you can hear the voice come over. Suddenly, an unexpected voice pipes through the camera speaker, talking to the little girl.
What you watching? Hey, what show is this? I've seen that show before. What season you on? Hello?
The daughter doesn't seem to notice, or perhaps opts to ignore the voice. But here's Adam, the dad, who's unaware that he's under observation at this moment. As the voice continues and Adam, mistaking it for the TV at first, turns to look, it doesn't take long for him to realize that that sound isn't coming from the TV. And he's pissed. The realization hitting him, their Ring camera system may have been compromised. Someone is watching them through their Ring camera system.
Hello? What are you eating? You hungry? What? Roman towering. Hello. This is Ring.
You can hear as the guy tries to do his best robotic impression, but Adam's like, nah. He knows his security's been breached. He quickly shuts down the camera and contacts Ring. The Ring representative reached back out and said that an unknown phone had accessed his account. Despite their efforts, they were never able to track it either, and the source remains a mystery. Adam and his family are left with an ultimate sense of intrusion and vulnerability. They gave him basic advice: change your password and enable two-factor authentication. The family still struggles with a lingering sense of unease, as you could imagine. So as you can see, there's a guy shooting a clip of his sister's car that he's putting up for sale. As I mentioned before, this isn't any car. It belonged to his sister, who sadly died in it less than a year ago. After he sends the video off to someone interested in buying, he gets a jarring reply that tells him to take a closer look. Check this out.
Hey man, here's my sister's car. Just wanted to make this video so you could have a look at it. Still runs good. She's a little dirty. She has a lot of miles on her, but it can clean up nice. Here's the front and a little back. There's some in the back. But I don't know, if you're interested, just let me know what you think.
As the video plays, there's a subtle sound of a woman sobbing in the background. Now, I didn't really hear that at first, but as the video plays, there's a subtle sound of a woman sobbing in the background if you listen closely. The clip got picked up by a channel called Dark Adventures Online and exploded. It racked up 500,000 views in like a day or something. In the comments, loads of viewers are saying that the weeping woman could be the man's sister's spirit, that she's likely stuck in the car where her life ended, unable to find peace and move on. Tons of people are obviously saying, don't buy it, don't buy it, what are you doing, are you crazy? And then others want to know why the heck the guy's selling it. I don't know how she died, but did you hear when he said, if you clean it up a little bit? Like, what does that mean? Hopefully it means, vacuum the seats and wipe down the windows, but I have a feeling he doesn't. In this brief video shared on Twitter, we see a pilot sitting in the cockpit of his aircraft. Suddenly, a flash of light strikes his helmet, accompanied by a discernible thud. The pilot, obviously taken aback by this unexpected occurrence, jerks his head in reaction, and we can see as he instinctively touches his helmet. This post has sparked the curiosity of many viewers. People who have watched the video have come up with a myriad of speculations about the source of this flash. Most are wondering if it was some type of natural event like a lightning strike or even a meteor. A few viewers have said it could be a bullet that hit the pilot. Of course, there are even wilder guesses, although who's to say they're wild or not? The possibility of a planned alien invasion, a beam from an alien's gun, I don't know. But nevertheless, that still leaves the question, where did this blinding light originate from? And what could have possibly caused it? Do we think we're dealing with something supernatural? Maybe even paranormal? Is this a natural occurrence? The internet is buzzing with theories. Let me know yours. Oh, tourists. Yep, we can see here as they're filming this huge Cape buffalo chowing down on some grass, totally at peace. But then, the noise of the spectators gets the big guy's attention. And, uh-oh, things take a sharp left turn. The buffalo stops by the water's edge. You can tell his demeanor's changed. The tourists are just gawking at him, totally wowed at first. But the mood flips real quick when Mr. Buffalo decides he's not up for a photo shoot, and he starts to charge.
He would stop by the edge of the water.
Oh God, with that grass.
Look at him.
He's good.
Oh gosh, oh no. Look how fast he's going. Oh no! Scare me to death.
You can hear Sally over here. She's hollering for help as everyone's hearts are thumping like crazy. But here's the thing. The Cape Buffalo's got a rep for being unpredictable. And an angry one is like a ticking time bomb. Super dangerous. Anyhow, these folks nearly learned that lesson the hard way. But luckily for them, it was all show. Just a mock charge. The Buffalo's version of telling them to back off, buddy, without anyone getting hurt. So Kyle Harrison, a YouTuber, was just hanging out playing with his little one in the living room when out of nowhere, one of their toys starts freaking out.
I'm gonna have nightmares from this.
It's making these really spooky noises, sounding like someone's talking backwards. And Kyle even says, like, man, this is gonna give me nightmares. What's up with this thing? While some folks are thinking that they're hearing some type of chant with the words flipped around, others are catching what seems like words among the gibberish. Stuff like, it's near, or it's here, I'm near. It's really hard to tell. The slower you play the video, the better you can hear it.
I'm gonna have nightmares from this.
But what do you guys think? You guys hear the same thing, or is this just some random glitch? I mean, it's kind of fishy, right? Probably the crazy part is that one commenter that saw this video chimed in and said they have the same toy and it's never gone off the rails like this. Not even when the batteries are on the brink, which Kyle had suggested before might have been the case. Anyhow, what do we think? Is this kid's toy possessed, or does it just need some new Duracells? A crew of urban explorers from the YouTube channel Herex Castron Nautica swung by this old-timey La Plata cemetery in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This cemetery's been around since at least 1886 and has a bunch of famous folks laid to rest there. So as they're meandering through the massive place, checking out the 12,000 tombs and vaults that are there, they spot a crypt that looks like it's been broken into, or damaged, or at the very least, it's been messed with. And I'll say that their camera picks up something pretty creepy. Did you see it? Yep, me neither at first. But I'll tell you who didn't miss it. The eagle-eyed viewers when they put this video up on YouTube. You can see as they spot a creepy, pale little hand ducking back into an open coffin. It's super hard to see, it just blinks by. You have to crank up the brightness and pretty much go frame by frame. If you flip the video to negative, the ghostly hand stands out even more. Some viewers thought one of the guys was pulling a fast one from inside the coffin, but no. This crypt is really old and not exactly sturdy. It's not like they could really go inside, climb in there. It's way too risky. So the urban explorers really want to know, did they just score some actual ghost footage? Or is this just something that looks like a hand creeping back into this coffin? Okay, this next clip is crazy. It's from a Leandro. He's in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and all of these strange occurrences are happening in this new place that he just moved into. Check this out. To get to the bottom of this, Leandro set up a security cam, hoping to catch a glimpse of what was going on. What he didn't expect to capture was something that went way beyond a simple case of missing belongings. The footage shook him up big time. It got Leandro digging into the backstory of his property, where he ultimately learned about a devastating fire back in the 50s that claimed the lives of a family where his house now stands. Fast forward to another night, his buddy Daniel has come over. They're just hanging out when this force or spirit or entity makes another startling appearance. If you look behind Leandro, you can see a white shape glide past the window, and almost simultaneously, as if by an unseen hand, objects fly off the nightstand, basically explode. Both men almost jump out of their seats and wet their pants. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I guess that could be fake, I don't know. But after that night, Leandro notices something even more bizarre. When the presence visits his home, it seems to be copying Daniel's voice.
Son las 3 de la mañana de nuevo. Y esto es lo que con lo que yo convivo desde hace meses. Con esto yo convivo hace meses. Siempre que grabo. Vos no sos Daniel. Vos no sos Daniel, esa no es tu voz. Vos no sos Daniel, esa no es tu voz. Daniel se fue hace meses del país, vos no sos Daniel. Si querés lastimarme, salí y lastimame ahora. Ya. Déjame de joder. Déjame de joder. Yo sí no puedo vivir. Ya no puedo vivir así.
We've shown some of these videos before. This is known as a mimic. They mimic a familiar voice to lure you in. Regardless of whether this is all a hoax or half of it is a prank, Leandro says he's at his wit's end with all these eerie happenings. But what do you guys think? Is his house genuinely haunted? Or do we think that he, and maybe even Daniel, are pulling off an intricate prank? You know, personally, part of me, I really thought it was all real until the end when they had the supposed voice trying to break into his room. But I digress. Only Leandro can tell us for sure, but we can talk about it in the comments. In the chill of a winter night back in 1993, Kelly Cahill, accompanied by her husband Andrew, encountered a mystery that continues to baffle them to this day. While traveling Belgrave Hallam Road in Australia, Kelly's eyes locked onto a curious sight. A vast array of orange lights forming a perfect circle. They were glowing in a nearby field, an otherworldly vision against the night sky. The couple took note of it and headed to their destination. Their journey home later only deepened the mystery as they confronted the same glowing phenomenon. But now it had moved from the field and was suspended over the exact road they were driving on. As they approached it, in a flash it sped away, only to re-emerge behind them moments later. After this, they felt lightheaded. Their memory abruptly ceased, leaving a blank stretch in their timeline like a cutscene from a movie. When they got their wits about them, they found themselves further along the road, with no recollection of traveling. Following the incident, Kelly observed unexplained triangular marks on her body and suffered from abdominal discomfort. However, more alarming were the nocturnal visitations by towering, dark figures topped with sinister, glowing red eyes. They showed up almost every single night. Kelly was losing her mind. In pursuit of understanding, Kelly turned to hypnotherapy. The hidden memories vividly unveiled themselves. They had stopped the car for a clearer view when a spindly figure materialized, emanating a malevolent intent heard as a thought in Kelly's mind. Then, an unseen force struck her down. Amidst her terror, Kelly perceived these beings as soulless entities intent on harm. The peculiar nature of Kelly's experience piqued the interest of Phenomena Research Australia, under John O'Chettle. His team, after thorough interviews and site investigations, sought corroborative witnesses through newspaper ads. Astonishingly, they secured testimony from others who claimed not just sightings, but abductions and examinations aboard the aircraft. Their narratives eerily mirrored Kelly's. A comprehensive report of 300 pages was assembled, teeming with these testimonies, yet it remains withheld from the public purview. And with along that have come a growing crop of questions rather than answers. Now, regarding what Kelly and others might have witnessed, the descriptions echo common elements of extraterrestrial encounters reported globally. The appearance of the lights, the lost time, and subsequent recollections under hypnosis are strikingly similar to other alleged UFO sightings and abduction claims. Without additional evidence, however, such extraordinary claims rest in the realm of speculation and anecdote. They entice the imagination and speak to our innate curiosity about what mysteries lie beyond our earthly experiences. Whether otherworldly visitors, secret human technology, or psychological phenomena, the truth of that night is as elusive as it is fascinating. The well-to-hell story is one heck of an urban myth that's been sparking up conversations for ages. So, way back in 1989, it blasted into the English-speaking scene through Trinity Broadcasting Network, an American TV channel, but with a religious angle. So, here's the deal. Some Soviet engineers, with a man named Azakov calling the shots, were drilling down in Siberia. They got pretty far down into the earth, about 9 miles deep, and suddenly they bump into this massive hole. Curiosity getting the best of them, they lowered a microphone that could handle extreme heat, along with some other gadgets to help see more clearly. What they hear is mind-blowing.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
It's about 1,000 degrees down there, and it sounds like a crowd of suffering souls. It gets even weirder. The first group of miners straight up lost their minds. They started fighting with each other, arguing, physical fighting. Then they're gone. They just disappear. The second team shows up, and the place is just a mess. They have no direction, and Azakov has basically lost his mind too. This tale got its start in a Finnish paper, then American tabloids grabbed it and ran. Trinity Broadcasting Network came into the picture because, of course, they were saying that it proved hell is real. But not everyone was buying it. A Norwegian teacher wasn't having any of it, and she told the network they were full of it. Back in Norway, the teacher hears of an even wilder part of the story. A giant bat-like creature zoomed out of the hole, and the religious network picked it up saying that it was Satan. The legends morphed and grown, with different takes popping up everywhere. By 1992, Weekly World News had a version with Satan jumping out of an Alaskan well, taking out and killing 13 miners, and killing the bat. So, what's the deal, you might ask? Your guess is as good as mine. Could this be a case of mass hysteria, where fear and imagination got the best of folks? Or maybe, just maybe, is there a bit of truth wrapped up in a lot of fiction? Anyhow, let me know if any of you guys have heard of this or have any particular details. This is a follow-up to a video posted a few weeks ago. Take a listen.
1, 2, 3, 4. I don't see the thumb. There is a print right here that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what this thing did.
You can pick it up barely right now.
That's a left-hand print.
That's the kitchen. So the interesting part about these windows, these were the only 2 windows in the entire home that you could see through the curtain. She changed those curtains yesterday.
This thing was peeking in to see what y'all were doing.
That's the only window he could see.
It was peeking in to see what you were doing.
In this account, the man in the blue shirt who lives in the house we just viewed shared an unusual tale. His regular home life was reportedly disrupted by a huge furry creature that seemed to be peering into their residence. A professional cryptid hunter visited the house to conduct what can best be described as neighborhood detective work. His verdict? A Bigfoot had indeed paid them a visit. He pointed out handprints on the window, which aren't visible to us. But consider for a moment how it would feel to be in your home, only to spot a massive ape-like creature peering into your space. It's hard to grasp the magnitude of such an experience. The speculation within the comment section of the video was mixed. Some viewers suggested the Bigfoot was simply curious, while others suspected it was attracted by the smell of food from the kitchen. A few viewers, though, took a more sinister view, suggesting the creature was there to strategize an attack. However, this behavior seems atypical for Bigfoot, at least based on popular lore. So, what's your take on this account? Do you think these men were telling the truth? Or were they merely attempting to grab the limelight? We're eager to hear your insights on this. Up next is an intriguing Trailcam image featuring a deer, but there's something that sets this one apart. Examine the deer closely in the picture. Do you notice the claw marks? They hint at an encounter with a significantly large and threatening creature, but the culprit remains a mystery. Interestingly, a commenter shed some light on the situation. They explain that this is not as uncommon as you might think during mating season. It's possible that a buck's antlers might scrape a doe in the heat of the moment, leading to such markings. Even the individual who shared this image online can only guess. They suspect that a cougar or a bear might be responsible. However, it's rare for such predators to let go of their prey once they've managed to capture it, unless the deer managed a miraculous escape. So, what's your take on this peculiar situation? Does the commenter's theory hold water, or do you have a different perspective? In February 2020, a routine flight is underway as an Airbus 320 majestically glides above the country of Colombia. The captain, blissfully unaware, is on the verge of making a startling discovery. Unbeknownst to him, the seemingly serene sky isn't as solitary as he assumes.
The pilot does us the favor of showing his altimeter, and we can see that he's flying around 30,000 feet in altitude.
The pilot then positions his smartphone camera towards the cockpit window, capturing a perplexing sight as he zooms in. A peculiar object, metallic in appearance, resembling a polyhedron, whizzes past in a direct trajectory. When we slow down the footage and enhance the zoom, the object becomes even more evident. Upon closer examination, it somewhat resembles a cube.
It has these kind of little points that stick out. It does seem to be darker in color and not like a bright, shining balloon. Whatever this is, it definitely shouldn't be there.
One theory is that if we were visited by another civilization, they might send probes ahead of when they actually come.
This drone recording originates from the depths of Salt Fork Park in Ohio. The video starts off as expected, but around the 5th minute, you might spot something concealed within the dense undergrowth. Keep your eyes focused on the left portion of your screen as the drone begins to descend, keeping your eyes peeled as the event unfolds swiftly. Many viewers say they can see a large creature pause and look upwards as the drone flies past. Some even speculate this to be a daytime sighting of Bigfoot. I can definitely see what they are referring to, but I personally can't make out any movement, and I think it could be something as simple as a tree. Please share your views and theories. Tell me if you spot it down in the comments. Next up, we're looking at video evidence that surfaced following an unusual disturbance in a local community. The neighbors in this area were left frightened and troubled due to the ongoing screams of an unidentified man. Anyone who's heard a human scream knows how disturbing it can be, so it's hardly surprising that hours of these mysterious cries led them to call for the sheriff. The video we're examining now is reportedly from the sheriff's body cam. Oddly enough, as soon as the sheriff arrived at the location, an eerie silence fell over the place. Being a law enforcement officer, he naturally started to scan the surroundings for anything unusual. As he navigated down the road, flashlight in hand, nothing seemed amiss at first. That was until he spotted a chillingly pale figure with arms of unnatural length. Whatever this entity was, it was originally seated, but the moment the beam from the sheriff's flashlight hit it, it took off and disappeared from view. Thankfully, the entire incident was caught on the sheriff's body cam. After watching the video, it was clear that the creature was humanoid, but unlikely human based on its skin and behavior. Some paranormal enthusiasts have suggested it could be a cryptid known as the Wraith. Considering the evidence in the video, it's hard to fault them for this belief. But is the video genuinely authentic? I'm not entirely convinced. What's your take on it? Let us dive into the realm of the unexplained with this intriguing Trailcam image. Can you spot the creature in the shot? It seems to bear some resemblance to an ape, don't you think? However, upon closer inspection, you'll notice that its body proportions don't quite align with any known ape species. Moreover, its face appears to hold an anomaly. Despite the image's low resolution, the person who shared it online is convinced that the creature is cradling a baby close to its face. Interestingly, I agree with this observation. You can make out the baby with its back towards us, though several commenters have expressed difficulty in spotting the baby. Definitely let me know whether you can see it. Yet, the real intriguing element here isn't the potential offspring. This image was captured in Florida, and the person who shared it believes it could be the elusive skunk ape. For those not in the know, the skunk ape is thought of as the swamp-dwelling cousin of Bigfoot. So what's your take? Could we be looking at a genuine skunk ape, or is this merely an overblown interpretation? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Check out this rarely seen footage from 1994. The video showcases a man in the woods, seemingly accompanied by a Bigfoot. The location? Near Duck Spring, situated within the Blue Mountain Range in Oregon. From the man's labored breathing, you can sense his anxiety and possibly fear. His trembling hands make it difficult to tell what's spooking him, but as the video progresses, the cause becomes evident. A large figure is seen just meters away from him, with a human-like stride yet an ape-like body. Its extraordinarily long arms and weighty steps suggest it might be capable of inflicting harm, explaining the man's audible fear. Surprisingly though, the creature doesn't seem interested in the man. He's convinced he's encountered a Bigfoot, and honestly, it's hard to argue with him. After all, How do we explain what we're watching in this video? Keep in mind that this is from 1994, a time when CGI and special effects weren't as common as they are now. Unless it's an incredibly convincing person in a costume, which seems improbable, what other explanation could there be? I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this. The Defense Department released 3 unidentified flying object videos, recorded by Navy pilots in 2004 and 2015, sparking speculation about extraterrestrial life. While confirming the video's authenticity, the Pentagon hasn't provided a concrete explanation, leaving possibilities such as atmospheric effects or technical issues open. Despite the excitement generated among UFO enthusiasts, some experts advocate caution, noting that such sightings typically have terrestrial explanations. I'm going to let the video play from here.
The whole fleet of them, look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Holy dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. It is LNS, dude. Well, if there's like another thing, it's rotating.
Pretty crazy. When videos like these surface, I always take my cues from the people involved, most notably their voice and tone. I think you can tell how genuine or scared or surprised a person is from listening to their voice in the moment. In this video, you can hear how the pilots are feeling upon seeing the object. Another creepy part, did you hear when he said there's a whole fleet of them? Yikes. Let me know what you think about these clips, and in aliens in general. This eerie video captured by a trail camera deep within the Appalachian Mountains appears to show something resembling a werewolf. The creature's face bears a striking, unsettling similarity to both a dog and a human. Its dog-like features coupled with its humanoid appearance make for a terrifying and perplexing sight. The footage is enough to send chills down anyone's spine, earning it the nickname Monster of the Mountains from some viewers. Many are left wondering whether this could be evidence of a creature of legend or if there's a more ordinary explanation. Some have speculated it might be a diseased animal, distorted and made grotesque by its ailment. However, the certainty of its identity remains elusive, adding to the mystery. No matter what it may truly be, the prospect of a middle-of-the-night encounter with such a being in the wilderness would undoubtedly fill anyone with dread. This video serves as a stark reminder of the mysteries that still inhabit the remote corners of our world, sparking curiosity, apprehension, and intrigue in equal measures. I thought this would be a really cool clip to start this video off with. The face at the end totally creeped me out. This plantation from the era before the American Civil War has been transformed into a bed and breakfast, and it's got quite a reputation. The current owners claim it's one of the most haunted houses in the United States, and there are plenty of eerie stories to back that up. If you take a tour of this historic home, built way back in 1796, you'll hear all about Chloe. She's said to be the ghost of a slave who once lived on the property. The story goes that Chloe took revenge on her philandering owner by poisoning his children. Unfortunately for her, when the other slaves found out what she'd done, they took matters into their own hands and hanged her from a nearby tree. Since then, people have reported seeing Chloe's spirit wandering through the house. She's often described as wearing a white apron and a green turban. Now, Here's where it gets really interesting. Back in 2017, a group of women decided to check out the property and go on one of these spooky tours. They took a bunch of photos to document their experience, and when they looked back at them, they noticed something they hadn't seen before. Unbeknownst to them at the time, they had captured something or someone in one of their group photos that looked out of place. The owner of the bed and breakfast later shared this mysterious photo on their Facebook page. In the background of the picture, you can see a girl who seems to be peering in the window. People who've seen the photo have offered different opinions. Some say it could be Chloe, the ghostly girl, while others think it's just a trick of the light or a shadow. I'm not really sure what to think, but it definitely made me jump in my seat a little. Let me know what you guys think. What or who do you think was really captured in that photo? Here's trail camera footage captured on a notably chilly day in a secluded part of the woods. The guy who managed to record this was undoubtedly frightened, a sentiment that many of us might share given the circumstances. As you watch the footage, you'll notice a distinct large figure with thick, dark fur. This fur starkly contrasts with the pristine snowy background, making the creature stand out like a sore thumb. The way it moves suggests it's agitated, perhaps territorial as it shakes a nearby tree with immense power. The sheer force the creature is using on the tree gives the impression it could snap that thing in half, making the bark and branches look like twigs. When we closely analyze the creature's features, it definitely bears a significant resemblance to an ape. But its size is much, much greater, dwarfing any regular primate we know of. Considering its size, appearance, and the region's folklore, you can't help but ask the question, could we be looking at the legendary Bigfoot, the creature spoken of in whispers and often dismissed as mere folklore? Yet here we see some type of creature shaking this tree, so the evidence seems compelling. Realizing the potential danger and significance of his discovery, the person who captured this footage decided it best to get the heck out of there. You can't really blame him for prioritizing safety. However, he perhaps left behind more questions than answers about the mysteries of this wild creature. I hope this email finds you well. My name is Francisco, and I'm reaching out from Roswell, New Mexico. You know, the famous UFO place? Yeah, that's the one. I've been watching your channel for a while now, and after a recent, quite unnerving experience in my own garage, I thought of sharing it with you. I've attached a couple of videos that my security camera captured. You might find them interesting. It was a usual quiet night here. My family was asleep, and just before heading to bed, my phone buzzed with a motion alert from my garage security camera. I wasn't expecting to see much, maybe a stray cat or some wind-blown trash, but when I played back the footage, I saw this glowing yellow ball just floating around. It looked like a basketball-sized orb of light moving slowly and seemed to be looking around, if that makes any sense. Now, I've heard enough tales growing up here about mysterious happenings, so I didn't dare go out and check. I just watched on my camera as this orb moved around. After what felt like forever, I got another notification, showing the orb leaving the garage and disappearing into the night. The next morning, I went into the garage. Everything looked normal, but there was this cold spot right where the orb had been. Super weird. I'm not really sure what to make of it. So I thought I'd send it over to you folks. Maybe your viewers have seen something like this? Or perhaps you might have an idea what this was. Respectfully, Francisco. Yeah, I have to say that looks strange. The weirdest part is that the orb flew in and set off the camera, and then roughly 2 hours later, it flew out of the garage and set off the camera again. Let me know what you guys think. This TikToker stumbled upon something really mysterious while exploring the woods at night during a live stream. In the dead of night, with the trees casting shadows all around him,
he came face to face with a glowing pair of eyes.
Why does that look human?
The eyes were peeking out from behind a tree in the pitch-black darkness of the forest. Realizing he had just discovered something strange and possibly important, he quickly urged his viewers to take screenshots to help document the eerie event. Curiosity getting the better of him, he decided to cautiously approach the spot where he'd seen the glowing eyes. But when he finally got there, the creature had vanished into thin air. Digging a little deeper, quite literally, he found a hollowed-out area of ground right where the creature had been standing. He stepped into the hole, and it was so deep that it came up to his knees. The online community started buzzing with theories. Some viewers suggested it could be a Sasquatch, which is basically a huge, hairy humanoid creature that some folks believe exists in the northwestern United States and western Canada. The name Sasquatch actually originates from a Salish word meaning wild men. You might also know this creature by its other popular name, Bigfoot. It's considered to be North America's answer to the Himalayan Yeti, or the abominable snowman. But of course, not everyone was convinced. Skeptics were quick to point out that the glowing eyes could easily be a trick of the light, or perhaps just a nocturnal animal like a raccoon. As for the hollow ground, they explained that it might simply be the result of damp, sinking soil, not necessarily a footprint of some mysterious creature. So what do you think the guy actually saw during his live stream? Was it just a trick of the eyes in some swampy ground? Or could it have been something far more mysterious? In the quiet town of Middleton, Ohio, a mysterious sight left both its residents and experts scratching their heads. On the night of June 21st, 2023, around 10:30 p.m., rotating green lines appeared in the sky, captivating those who saw it. These lines seemed to dance and twirl in the air, performing an odd aerial ballet. After a while, they swiftly darted across the expanse of the night sky and disappeared. Bryce Garrick, a local, was among those who witnessed this bewildering event. Quick to act, he pulled out his phone and managed to capture the spectacle. The video showed a glowing object, moving in a clockwise direction and then rapidly darting away. Yet, despite the buzz this created among the townspeople, the Butler County Sheriff's Office mentioned they hadn't received any calls regarding the anomaly. Even their dispatchers were at a loss for words, unable to provide any reasonable explanation for what people had seen. Brian Simpson, who leads the Cincinnati Astronomical Society, commented on the incident. He pointed out that the speed of the light seemed too fast for any drone we currently know of. However, he was also quick to remind everyone that, in this digital age, videos can be manipulated with graphics software that's easy to get. For Simpson, the real measure of authenticity lies in having multiple independent reports, suggesting that at least 20 different accounts would help validate such a sighting. Motivated to dig deeper, he announced plans to further investigate this particular incident. Interestingly, this event in Middleton followed a recent public meeting held by a NASA panel. The subject? Hundreds of reports of unidentified flying objects. The NASA panel noted commonalities in these sightings. The objects were often small or round, with colors ranging from silver, translucent, or white. Most were observed flying at altitudes between 10,000 to 30,000 feet. Some were reported moving at blistering speeds, while others hovered motionless. Curiously, these objects didn't seem to emit any exhaust, hinting at unconventional methods of propulsion. NASA, while stopping short of labeling these as extraterrestrial, did acknowledge the mysteries surrounding their exact origins. This sentiment echoed a 2021 statement from the Pentagon which mentioned that out of 144 military pilot reports since 2004, all but one remained unsolved. Finally, NASA emphasized its commitment to creating an open dialogue around these sightings. They pointed out the stigma attached to reporting UFOs, mentioning that many commercial pilots often hold back from sharing such experiences. The agency also expressed concerns over online harassment targeting scientists
brave enough to dig into these mysterious events. Now, as always, let me know in the comments where you stand on these potential sightings. In this video, we're treated to scenes of a thriving natural environment with tall trees and young plants bursting to life. It might seem like just another beautiful display of nature, but there's more to it. As you watch, keep your eyes peeled. A distinct dark shape emerges, subtly moving deeper into the woods. This isn't just any random animal. The paranormal enthusiasts came out of the woodwork with theories on this one, and rightly so. Some initially thought it might be an ape or a bear. But when you take a closer look, the creature's size, fur color, and overall appearance don't match that description. So what could it be? Obviously, the most exciting theory is Bigfoot. Given the undisturbed and remote setting of this video, it might just be a genuine Bigfoot sighting. But, as always, we leave it up to you. What do you think? Personally, the video seems a little glitchy, and I feel like that figure would be pretty easy to edit into a video. The best clue to this being a real Bigfoot is the branch with leaves on it that is clearly in front of the figure, making it seem that the creature's behind the shrubbery. Anyhow, dive into the mystery with us and share your thoughts and theories. I've seen more and more of these images popping up all across the internet. These pics are being sent into various channels with a few similarities in all of them. 1. I'm sure the sender wanted to remain anonymous and undisclose their location. 2. The pictures are always in this particular stance and have a few extra fingers. This has most likely been created by artificial intelligence. But for the moment, let's pretend it's not. What do we have here? At a first glance, the creature strongly resembles a chimpanzee due to its prominent features, especially the slender arms, legs, and elongated body. However, its face, the deep-set eyes, and some other peculiar traits make it seem out of this world. At moments, I even sense it has a sloth-like appearance, but that could just be my perception playing tricks. What adds to the mystery is that this was captured in a place where there are no known apes. What do you guys think? Can anyone place what this animal might be? If you've come across something similar or have any insights, please share in the comments. For me, I am lost as to what this could be. The video that's making the rounds on TikTok is both fascinating and chilling, and it was shot just this year in 2023. The footage comes straight from Thailand and features a security guard who's on the night shift, doing what security guards typically do. He was reportedly answering a call about some kind of disturbance on the property. But here's where things get really weird. While he's talking on his walkie-talkie, the camera catches something strange floating in midair. Now, people who've seen this video are buzzing with speculation, and a lot of them think what we're seeing could be a crashu. For those who don't know, a crashu is a spirit from Southeast Asian folklore. It's basically the floating head of a young and beautiful woman. But here's the creepy part. Her internal organs dangle below her as she floats. She's not just hanging around for fun either. This creature is driven by an insatiable hunger and thirst, and she's most active at night. But come daylight, she's got to return to her body, which looks like any regular human being. You might even bump into her during the day and not know it, although she'd probably look pretty tired. To protect themselves from the crashu, a lot of locals take some pretty unique precautions. They'll put spiky plants around their homes to keep the spirit from getting too close. And that's not all. After a baby is born, the family will often bury the placenta far away from the village. The belief is that this keeps the crashu from haunting the area. So the big question is, did this TikTok video just give us real evidence that the crashu exists? It's a question that's sparking a lot of debate and drawing attention from people all around the world. In the town of Caxambu, Brazil, an unusual event caught the attention of people around the world. A video clip went viral, sparking a whirlwind of speculation and curiosity among internet users. Shared by someone on Reddit, this video showcases what appears to be a glowing humanoid figure perched atop a hill. As you watch, it becomes evident that this glowing presence is considerably larger than normal, especially when compared to the other people milling about, who look tiny in contrast to this glowing being. However, there's an intriguing aspect to this video that caught the eyes of many. The glowing figure doesn't move at all. It's completely still throughout the entire clip. This little detail has given skeptics some ammunition. They argue that what we're seeing might not be some mysterious glowing creature or entity. Instead, it could be a large, non-living object that's merely catching and reflecting the sun in such a way that it appears to glow. Think of how sometimes, at the right angle, a building's windows might reflect sunlight so brightly that it's almost blinding. But even with this skeptical viewpoint, it's hard to deny the allure of the video. The internet couldn't get enough of it. The original post gathered thousands of upvotes, and before long, it was being shared and discussed on various other social media platforms. People everywhere were throwing out their theories, trying to explain the unexplained. Was it an elaborate prank? A trick of the light? Or something truly unworldly? The chatter hasn't died down. Even now, people continue to discuss, debate, and wonder about this mystery. The video from Brazil has turned into one of those internet phenomena that keeps people talking, uniting strangers in their shared curiosity and desire to uncover the truth behind the inexplicable. Our next clip is an intense video showing a creepy red-eyed entity chasing some guys through a forest. Is this footage genuine, or just another staged video seeking online attention? Let's dive in. This video was taken during nighttime, so the clarity isn't great. Still, we can follow the action. As the cameraman flees, he occasionally looks back, capturing the creature's glaring red eyes. Interestingly, these eyes blink, suggesting it's not just some artificial light. The video is all over the place. At one point, it captures a guy leaping off a ridge into a river, escaping the relentless pursuer. He seems to regroup with his pals, but those menacing eyes remain on their trail. Given they're being pursued by what appears to be a cryptid, it's understandable that the footage isn't cinema quality. However, it does remind one of the found footage style popularized by movies like the Blair Witch Project. So, is this a genuine recording or just some folks trying to create a buzz? Suppose it's real for a second. What could this red-eyed creature be? While the video doesn't clarify, the famous cryptid known for its eerie red eyes is the Mothman, which, as some accounts suggest, chases people who disrupt it. What were these guys up to before the chase began? Did they provoke this entity? Let me know if you think this is real or recognize the creature, or if this is all just a big dumb hoax.
Alright, so in this clip we have a few guys in the woods. They have found something on their property. You can see as he zooms in, it definitely looks like a hairy bipedal creature walking through the woods. He tries to track him, but you can even hear him on the original video say that his camera is somehow picking up everything on the forefront and it's not focusing very well, but let's watch the part where he walks again. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's something. I mean, it's either somebody in a suit or it's Bigfoot. I mean, that's kind of the way I feel about it. This clip features a homeowner who believes they captured a time traveler on their security camera in the backyard. Let me stop by saying this. This guy looks sketchy as I don't even know. I mean, I hate to judge a book by its cover, but even his mannerisms, they're off. He's looking to steal something. Anyhow, the homeowner noticed this guy. He's got a backpack, goes into the backyard. When the man entered the property, he wandered around for a while and finally went into this shed. Now, the guy that lived there tried to communicate with the man through the camera system, but he didn't answer. Growing everly more concerned, the homeowner contacted the police. Upon arrival, the police searched the shed but found it to be empty. But the guy knew that he never left that shed. But they looked and looked and looked, and the man was nowhere on the property. It was like he had vanished. After the police left, the homeowner, baffled by the experience, shared the footage on social media, suggesting the possibility of a time traveler. The video went viral and people have tons of ideas, but almost everyone is struggling to find a clear explanation. So what do we think? Could this really be evidence of a time traveler, or did the guy just sneak out of the shed without the homeowner knowing it? A perfect storm type scenario. He just dips around the corner and he's off. Alright, so check this out. This is very interesting and frankly a little unsettling. Caught on a trail camera, this photo was sent in by a viewer, and let me tell you, it's got me scratching my head. Now, at first glance, it might look like just a large wolf or some kind of canine at least. But take a closer look. See how it's standing there, almost upright on its hind legs? And while we can't see its front paws, they look an awful lot longer than any wolves I've ever seen. Now, in the cryptic community, this kind of thing actually has a name. A dogman. Described as a bipedal creature with a mix of canine and human features, sightings of dogmen have been reported for centuries all over the world. Now, I'm not saying this is definitive proof of a dogman, but the resemblance is uncanny. The human-like posture, the elongated limbs, it certainly fits the bill. But probably the thing that makes me lean most towards this being something other than a regular wolf are its eyes. They just feel human-like. I don't know. Of course, there could be a completely rational explanation. Maybe it's a wolf just standing on uneven terrain. But those explanations don't quite sit right. Anyhow, let me know what you guys think. I'm interested. If this isn't a cryptid, is this just a really large wolf? I mean, there's just something about it. I don't know, maybe a hybrid of some sort. Let me know. A seemingly ordinary Tuesday evening in October took a bizarre turn for one young girl. It was around 6 p.m. when the girl, filming with her camera, decided to record a video showcasing her new toy collection and share a bit about her day. However, the video takes a chilling turn.
Hey guys, today I'm going to show you my Skibidi toilet collection that I just got today. We went to a toy store and they had all of these things like this cameraman, these tiny little action figures, this big Skibidi toilet, and this one. I saw my friend the other day and we went on a walk and we also got ice cream that day and I'm having a lot of fun.
The girl abruptly stops talking and appears to freeze in fear, staring intently at something off camera. This unsettling silence continues for over 20 seconds before she gets up and quickly leaves the room, leaving the camera recording. And it's kind of faint, but you can hear her. It's almost like she's saying, "Mom, Dad," like she's freaked out. The camera remains running and captures what some have interpreted as a shadowy figure following the girl out of the room. Let me know if you guys see that. Now, an even crazier instance on how this was found, the girl's older sister Charity stumbled upon this strange recording while just looking through the random camera footage. According to Charity, she had no prior knowledge of her sister experiencing anything unusual that day or ever. Anyhow, the clip, now shared on Instagram by Charity, has sparked a ton of online discussion. No one seems to have any idea what it is, and viewers are mostly left to draw their own conclusions. I don't know. As for me, well, it's pretty clear to me. She saw something that freaked her out. Wildlife encounters, particularly with bears, can be unpredictable and extremely dangerous. Well, this video serves as a stark reminder of that. The footage shows a hiker who was unfortunately attacked by a bear cub. But thankfully, it wasn't a full-grown bear. Also, the hiker reacted appropriately by yelling and using a stick to try to scare this thing away. I mean, look at this guy. This determined cub is refusing to back down. It pounced at the hiker and was able to even grab the stick in its jaws. It took the hiker some time to finally dislodge it. I mean, this really highlights the importance of being aware of potential risks when exploring the area. I mean, this guy could probably mess you up a little bit if he got a hold of you. We think of these bear cubs as kind of being cute and cuddly, but I mean, they're bigger than most dogs. And the last thing you need is for mama to come around the corner and think that you're messing with her baby. We all know how protective they are. Anyway, as always, these videos serve as a valuable lesson to always be aware of your surroundings. A Reddit user named Kimberly shared a strange experience that has left her terrified. According to Kimberly, she was unable to sleep one night and decided to grab a late night snack around 1:30 a.m. Knowing her boyfriend and roommate Jackie were both soundly asleep, Kimberly felt confident she was alone in the house. However, what happened next caused a serious fright.
Oh, Jesus! Jackie? Hi.
Kimberly recounts jumping in surprise after hearing a loud female voice clearly say, "Hi," from the doorway directly behind her. Confused, she got up expecting to see her roommate Jackie, but the doorway was empty. Now, adding to the strangeness, Kimberly has two small dogs who typically come running at the sound of food. However, you can see them in the background. In this occasion, the dogs remained plenty far away, even appearing a little skittish.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to sleep.
Kimberly says that she doesn't really have any opinion on the paranormal. She has never had any interactions and not thought much of it. But on this instance, she emphasizes that her roommate was definitely asleep at the time, and they don't have any virtual assistant devices like Siri or Alexa or anything that could produce a voice. I don't know about you guys, but I'll say this video clip, paired with Kimberly's story, shows a genuine look of fear on her face. I mean, she is startled. And I think that lends some credibility to her experience. Have you guys had any experiences like this? Ventura County, California resident Diane runs a popular YouTube channel called Diane the Canning Nana, where she shares tips and tricks on growing and preserving food. However, her channel recently took a turn into the unexplained. In the early morning hours around 2 a.m., Diane received a motion alert from her security cam. Curious, she reviewed the footage and captured something pretty bizarre. The video, taken while everyone in the house was asleep, shows a faint apparition resembling an older woman with long hair walking through her living room. Even Diane's cat appears to react to the strange figure, looking towards it with a startled expression. Now, according to Diane, she's felt an unusual presence in her home for months, but this was the first time she was able to capture it on camera. She says she actually feels a little vindicated, or less crazy. The situation takes an even stranger turn when the footage is brightened. The figure seems to vanish completely, disappearing into thin air. Diane plans to continue canning, and she's hoping that this unexplained encounter marks the first and the last time she dives into the paranormal content on her channel. So, what do you believe? This next clip is from some hunters who were hunting in the deep forest. Well, they were until they were interrupted by some haunting sounds. Listen closely. Yeah, did you hear that? The loud howling sounds? Now, the exact location of this footage is unknown, and the person who sent it in believes it might have been captured in Oregon, which we all know is a state known for its numerous reports of strange creatures. And when you look in the comments, people are immediately running towards the cryptid angle. So what cryptid could be responsible for these sounds? Many who have heard the recording believe it to be Bigfoot, with some members of the paranormal community even suggesting there might be more than one. However, others have offered more down-to-earth explanations. Some commenters suggested it was simply the wind. Well, they're wrong. Another user tagged a wolf conservation page and they said that these are definitely wolves. They're just communicating and that's all there is to it. I'm leaning more towards wolves. I mean, howling for them is such a crucial way for them to communicate. You know, they might be announcing their location or even fending off rival packs. I think they even do it as like a competition or like a social bonding or something I read somewhere. Anyhow, yeah, it would probably freak me out if I was in the woods too. Now, take a look at this footage. A white being glimpsed on a man's back porch, moving stealthily in the dark. Now, what does this unsettling figure remind you of? If you said the rake, well, you're not alone. The man who uploaded the footage mentioned that he'd been hearing odd sounds coming from his back porch around midnight for some time now. Since he's usually alone at that hour, he decided to take matters into his own hands. For days, he psyched himself up to expose whatever or whoever it was that kept visiting his home. Finally, armed with the camera to capture evidence of a potential break-in, he set up a nighttime watch on his back porch. Well, he got what he was looking for. Unfortunately, the footage he filmed was so bizarre and grainy that even the police didn't take him seriously. For those that don't know what the rake might be, it's an entity that is often described as a pale, emaciated humanoid figure. It usually has long, slender limbs. It also has sharp, vicious claws that are said to be its only weapons, but it moves with an unnerving agility, and it preys on unsuspecting victims. Yeah, I don't totally know about this one. The footage is so bad that I just can't really tell. It could be anything, right? I mean, we almost have to take this guy at his word or just the exact opposite. Maybe it's just a hoax.
So yeah, what do you guys think about this one? I mean, I feel like I see something in the video, unless it's just, like I said, so focused in that I'm just making it up with my eyes. I don't know. Footage is bad, so let me know what you guys can make out, if anything.
A truly bizarre capture on a security camera in a street has left viewers with very little explanation. The grainy footage shows a figure appearing across the road, and it doesn't look like anything most people have ever seen. It's kind of a dark, translucent, swirling mass vaguely resembling some type of being. Great description. There's something up with its torso. Its head is particularly strange. I mean, it looks like something out of a movie. Who am I kidding? Look how it just tries to slowly creep across the road. I mean, passing vehicles, they don't even see it. I do really wonder, though, could this be a ghost? I mean, it doesn't appear that anyone else sees it, but the quality of the footage makes it difficult to say for certain. Without more info, I don't think we'll be able to definitively say what the figure is. This captivating clip from somewhere in Russia, a guy is out enjoying the wilderness with his kid during a day trip, recording their excursion. What he captures next is nothing short of astonishing. Behind some trees, there's this enormous hairy figure darting across the frame. This thing is big, it's moving on 2 legs, and obviously everyone's first thought is Bigfoot. Or perhaps an exceptionally large wild animal. The size of the thing, plus the way that it runs like a human but also has a wild animal look to it, is definitely enough to give you a fright if you ran into it. This clip definitely grabs your attention, and while there could be a more down-to-earth explanation behind it, this video is quite compelling. YouTuber Sam, known for his channel The Northwest Wind, is famous for his stealth camping adventures. These adventures are crazy. They're often involved by setting up camp in unconventional locations like Burger Kings, Walmarts, public restrooms. I think he went to a cemetery. Anyhow, his channel's pretty funny. However, on one occasion, Sam decided to camp in a wooded park on the outskirts of Cleveland, Ohio. Despite the chilly temps in January, he initially felt comfortable with his decision. This is in January in Ohio, but despite the freezing cold temperatures, he initially felt comfortable with his decision. However, as night fell, his confidence, well, let's just say it began to dwindle. Soon, his initial concerns escalated into a real-life nightmare.
Walking around out there very close to the tent. They're getting closer, hang on. Hang on. They're really close now, they're like... Listen.
Hello? 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 Alright, I don't like this. Hello? Hello? They're touching my tent. Stop. Hello? Alright, I'm getting the f*** out of here. Hello? Hello? I don't know what the f*** this is, but we're getting out of here. Hang on. Hello? Okay, they're walking away now. What do you want? What do you want? I have a knife. Where's my knife? Say something, I see you. They collapsed my tent on me. I don't know which way they went. I think they went this way. I see you. Get away! Alright, I'm spooked. I don't like this. Get my headlamp on and we're getting out of here right now. They're just standing there. They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone! They went over that way. I can't see them now. I know you're there. I see you. They collapsed my tent on me and pulled the fly off while I was still in there. It smells like someone's smoking a cigarette too. I smell your cigarette! Alright, we're just gonna get out of here. We're just gonna get out of here. I'll come back for this crap later. Do I have my phone? I'm gonna call. Stay away from me! They're coming behind me. I don't know what they're doing. They could just be around. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. They're at my campsite. I see them. I see you reflecting off my tent. Leave my alone! All right, I'm getting out of here. One of them's following me. One of them. Okay, here's the trail of some kind. I just ate. I just ate. I'm soaked. I'm toast. Okay, oh, they're coming. Leave me alone! Okay. About 5 minutes from the car now, but I'm in the big clearing off the path. I have the high ground, so to speak. I can see everything from behind me. I don't see anybody anymore. Can't hear anybody. If they were coming, I could see them for a ways now. Right at the edge of the wood line. It's about 150 yards away. Hang on. You see that? I see you! I can see you! Oh, it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger. All right, let's get the I don't know if they're like after me or something, or what the happening. We're getting the It's getting bigger. They're coming this way. Oh, I don't like this. I'm calling the police. Okay. All right, we're getting out of here. All right. Lock my doors. What the fuck? What the fuck?
He heard people outside of his tent. Feeling threatened, Sam tried to call out to the people or creatures in the woods. I mean, this guy's yelling. However, they didn't say anything. Understandably shaken by the experience, Sam made the decision to get the hell out of Dodge. He even left all his camping gear behind. Thankfully, Sam managed to reach his car safely. Returning to the park the next day, he was surprised to find his tent and belongings untouched. Nothing had been stolen or vandalized. Now, this added an extra layer of mystery to this encounter. I mean, he was like, well, what the heck were they there for if they weren't there to steal my stuff or rob me? He said that really sent chills down his spine. If you'd like to learn more about this incident, because it's a pretty long video, you can watch the full thing on Sam's YouTube channel, The Northwest Wind.
Guys, I was out here hunting, and I'm so startled right now. I think I may have stumbled across a Bigfoot. I'm just not sure. Here, let's see if you guys can tell. I'm so startled right now. I'm so startled. Yeah, it looks like there's two Bigfoots. I don't know. It looks like he's got a dead deer in his arm or something. I'm not sure. Oh my god, I think he sees me. I have to go.
Christina Roberts was turkey hunting when she stumbled upon two creatures she identified as Sasquatches. The part that really creeped her out is that she thought that they were carrying a dead deer, possibly one they had hunted and were about to feed upon. Upon reviewing the original footage, you can tell she was visibly shaking, and she seems to be talking very quietly as to not be noticed. However, when the footage is enhanced, this is where opinions vary. Some viewers insist they're just people. They're just regular hunters. Others have said that Christina is definitely just pretending and they can tell from the video. Now there's another camp, and this group says that there's no possible way these are humans. Now, as much as I'd like to, unfortunately, I would have to agree with them just being hunters. To me, the more I watch it, it just looks like two guys walking through the woods. These videos are tough because you never know the intentions of the person filming. It could have just been a joke that made its way to the internet, so it's tough to draw a definite conclusion. Now, what would have been funny is that it appears that these guys don't know she's there. So if she let off a warning shot, man, it would have scared them half to death. That would have been a good video. The user VidsWild posted a photo from a fan that was sent in, and it caused quite a stir online, especially because it looks a lot like a werewolf. At first, it just kind of seemed like a big wolf caught on a trail cam, but a closer look shows something really odd. As you can see, the creature has long fingers that look like human hands. I don't need to tell you that that's not something you normally see on wolves. And its face is odd too. It doesn't really match a typical wolf's either. Some people have even noticed that its teeth seem more human than animal. This mix of human and wolf traits have people going nuts. They're throwing all types of wild guesses out there. Could this be some kind of wolf-person hybrid? Is this a dog man? Some are claiming the photo's just messed up, that it's a hoax, someone's tricking us. I'm leaning towards all of the latter, but I will let you guys decide.
This next picture comes as a viewer submission from a lady named Patricia. Patricia lives in Washington State and is an amateur photographer. I'll just read what she sent in by email. Dear Dread Captures team, I hope this message finds you well. I recently had a rather eerie experience that I felt compelled to share with your channel. My name's Patricia and I live in Upper Washington State. I've been experiencing with photography in the deep woodlands behind my home. I was practicing a technique where I take photos with my camera and later adjust the exposure to highlight specific areas that are usually hidden by shadows. During one of these sessions, I captured an image that, at first glance, appeared to be a typical forest scene. However, when I adjusted the lighting on a particularly dark section of the photo, I uncovered something truly inexplicable. Two distinct figures that seemed to be in motion. These silhouettes had a ghostly quality, almost as if they were phantoms caught mid-stride. And the creepiest part is that they were not visible to me at the time I took the picture. The figures appear human-like, but are covered in a blur that suggests rapid movement, more than what you'd expect from a single camera shake. The forest was calm and peaceful, and I was alone, which honestly makes the presence of these figures all the more unsettling. But I highlight that part because there's no way there was anyone else in the picture. As the days have gone on, I've become excited. They've brought about a feeling of a hidden reality, one that perhaps we are not meant to see. I've attached the photo for your review. I am at a loss for what these apparitions could be. As I mentioned, there were no other people in the vicinity that day, and the stillness of the forest was obvious. It's as if the camera lens pierced through a veil to another dimension, capturing inhabitants unaware of my presence. This photo has left me with more questions than answers and a newfound respect for the secrets the forest keeps. I would be honored if you considered featuring my photograph on Dread Captures. Perhaps your viewers might shed some light on this mystery. Warm regards, Patricia. Well, that is pretty creepy. I don't really know what to make of these. It looks like two men, and they're in some type of robes. Both of them are bald, but then the one on the left kind of looks like a skeleton. I'd love to know more about what was on this property. There looks like there's some wood on the background, so I don't know if that was from an old house or if that's just regular piles of wood. There look to be some boards in there. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. This is super intriguing to me. Get ready because what we're about to show you is absolutely crazy. Picture this, a quiet, almost eerily silent road in the dead of night. The only noise you can hear is the gentle hum of the car's engine. Inside we have two passengers. One of them is recording what appears to be a typical nighttime drive. The surroundings are covered in darkness with only a single street light flickering in the distance. Now, as the car rolls on, everything seems normal. The person with the camera is keeping it steady, although I'm not really sure what or why they're filming. But then out of nowhere, a quick, white figure rushes past, cutting across the road. It's there and gone in a heartbeat, not even a few seconds. Just disappears into the dark night. Now, this is either a person dressed in entirely white and moving really fast, or it is a ghost. Some have speculated it could have been the ghost of someone who once met a tragic fate on this very road. I also think this could just be a drunk teenager running from a field party. However, this clip really makes you think, doesn't it? It reminds us that the cover of night might just be hiding mysteries that we can't even begin to fathom. So next time you're out on a dark, desolate road, keep your eyes peeled, whip out your phone, because who knows what secrets the night might reveal. I think we could all agree that Bigfoot is typically linked to the remote mountainous regions of America. But surprisingly, there have also been several under-the-radar sightings in the United Kingdom. In 2021, Bigfoot hunter Lee Brickley reported finding tracks and claw marks in the forests of Britain, which he believes are evidence of an ape-like creature. These marks were discovered in Cannock Chase, Staffordshire. And if you've been watching this channel for any time, you know we've covered Cannock Chase a few times. It's a 26 square mile forest known for centuries of paranormal occurrences. I mean, ranging from child ghosts to UFOs and werewolves. Even reports of Yeti-like figures go back to the 1800s. Lee photographed footprints which he says were a frightening 41 centimeters in length, almost double the size of a large human foot, and way too big for any local wildlife. About a month later, while he was hunting, he encountered large claw marks on a tree near a mauled deer. The deer had bite marks and its throat was torn out. Sightings and reports in this area have spiked since early 2019, leading many to suspect that some mysterious creature is lurking in Cannock Chase. I don't know, guys, maybe we have some listeners that live near there. Maybe they could check these woods out for us. In 2020, a hiker in California's San Gabriel wilderness took out his camera to capture the scenery when he noticed something unusual in the trees and zoomed in. He recorded a large figure standing at what he estimates to be 10 to 15 feet tall. He said it was standing completely still, almost as if to not be noticed. The hiker has lived in this area his entire life, and he has never known of a Bigfoot sighting.
We're about 10, 20 feet behind me, and as I turn around, I'm looking straight, and I see the creature on that tree. So what I do is I continue walking closer to try to tell myself, am I seeing a shadow, a tree stump? At that point, I see his head turn, so I know that I'm not looking at a shadow. And this is where I stop, and this is where everything pretty much happened. This is where my daughter videotaped from your angle.
And when he looked it up online, this area is not typical of where you would see Bigfoot sightings. However, a couple of years earlier, unbeknownst to this guy, a woman in the San Bernardino Mountains, not too far from San Gabriel, reported seeing a Sasquatch up in a tree.
I swear to God, Mom? Yeah. Yeah.
It caught her eye and she couldn't stop looking at it. She described how she walked closer to confirm if it was just a shadow. But then she saw its head turn, making her certain it was no shadow. Luckily for us, her daughter caught the moment on video. These mysterious encounters raised the question, could they have captured the same creature? What's your take? I'm not sure, but I wouldn't cross this mountain range in California off the Bigfoot list quite yet. A chilling photograph found on Google Maps and highlighted by a TikTok user sent the internet into a frenzy. In under 1 hour, this video had amassed over 220,000 views, and widespread discussion was breaking out. The Chernobyl disaster in April of '86 was a catastrophic nuclear accident. It resulted in the evacuation and long-term displacement of tens of thousands of people. Places like the city of Pripyat within the Chernobyl exclusion zone had drawn the eerie fascination of tourists, with visitor numbers reaching approximately 100,000 annually. The image that has gone viral shows the eerie remnants of Pripyat's amusement park, with the focus on the dilapidated Ferris wheel. The scene quickly becomes dicey when the video reveals a shadowy outline of a person, dressed in what seems to be a purple jacket hiding behind a tree. And you know how quick everyone is on the internet. While it's hard to see, it didn't get past those people. Many viewers were saying that this was a person that was left over from the incident. They were talking about radiation's effects and all types of mutations. One guy threw a little humor into the comments by saying, "How could a Google car have gotten to such a sealed-off location?" Anyhow, could this shadowy presence be a brave urban explorer, or even an abandoned mannequin? I'd like to believe it's something more cryptic. But nevertheless, it makes you guess, really, what is it? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on this. I don't have any experience with Photoshop, but I don't know if you could even do this, or let me know. In an unusual twist on a quaint farm setting, a TikTok video from the user Brianna Antoinette has sparked a little bit of laughter and a lot of unease. The clip starts harmlessly enough, as we can see Brianna amongst her chickens, yet the mood takes a curious turn when she steps back. She calls out to the chickens, but they stay eerily still, as if time has stopped for them.
It's grab time! What the fool? Why are they all not moving?
As the video goes on, the intrigue grows. Then, just as suddenly as they had stopped moving, the chickens start up again, busily pecking and roaming, leaving everyone puzzled. Some TikTok viewers have guessed that the chicken's odd stillness might be a natural defense against a predator like a hawk that could be hiding nearby, basically thinking if they don't move, they won't be seen. Others jokingly suggest it might be proof that our world is just a simulation, and the chickens are experiencing a glitch. What's your take on this curious event? This next clip is particularly creepy. It's a little different than what we normally showcase, but I think it just caught me so off guard I didn't really know what to think. And I've had a similar experience, which I'll tell you guys at the end. Anyhow, this is the strange case of Jack Froese, a 32-year-old from Dunmore, Pennsylvania. I mean, it has left people all over the world confused. So Froese passed away suddenly in June 2011 from an unexpected heart problem. I mean, just shocking his loved ones. As they began to come to terms with his sudden loss, something incredible happened starting in November of 2011. And this made them question what they knew about life and death. A guy named Tim Hart, Froese's closest friend, was the first to encounter this. He was at home and an email popped up from Jack Froese, who had passed away a few months ago. The subject line read, "I'm watching." And the message was, "Did you hear me? I'm at your house. You need to clean your attic." Hart was alone, but he got freaked out. He went around and checked his house because he thought someone might be playing a practical joke on him. The messy attic comment was a private joke between him and Froese. No one else should have known about it. Then Jimmy McGraw, Froese's cousin, also got an email about an ankle injury he had gotten well after Froese had passed away. It said, "Hey Jim, how you doing? I knew you were going to break your ankle. Tried to warn you. Gotta be careful. Tell Rock for me. Great song, huh? You're welcome." Couldn't get through to him. His email didn't work. McGraw was equally as freaked out. After these two emails, no more came and nobody could explain it. People have guessed that maybe someone got into Froese's email to mess around and just drum up some funny memories, and they somehow knew of these personal details they listed in the emails. Others thought McGraw and Hart made it all up, but people privy to the situation say that they're not really those types of guys, and that narrative didn't quite fit with how specific the messages were. Some think Froese might have set the emails to send after he was gone, but his sudden death and the mention of McGraw's injury happening later makes it seem impossible. The most out there idea is that Froese was reaching out from beyond the grave. Of course, this goes against logic, but is something those who believe in the supernatural might think possible. What really happened with these emails is still a mystery. It could be a clever trick, or maybe Froese really is trying to reach out from the grave. That would be amazing. As for my story, I'll keep it quick. My best friend's younger brother, who was like a brother to me, was killed in a brutal car wreck with he and some friends. This took place in our hometown, and after a really long night, we all got up the next morning, and I had a text from his phone that said, "Are you ready?" And I just remember it stopped me in my tracks. It was hours after he passed, and I never actually got an answer as to what it could have been. Nevertheless, rest in peace. Well, forget about Bigfoot lurking in the shadows. Apparently all you had to do was have a live TV show take place. A couple on a dating show, casually walking and talking, were about to have the show stolen from them by the infamous Bigfoot. As the camera moves across the two people, pay attention to what's happening right behind the pair. You can spot two large figures, bearing an uncanny resemblance to Bigfoot, just nonchalantly walking into the woods. I'm interested in what you guys think about this one. Do we think that this was something that drew Bigfoot out? Is this channel just trying to create a viral clip? Or could this really be a legit Bigfoot capture on tape? People often say, everything's bigger in Australia. Well, a photo taken by Alec might just prove this point. This snapshot, captured one bright sunny morning in New South Wales, Australia, features an astoundingly large feline. So much so that even Alec himself could hardly believe what he was seeing. The cat, with its broad head and muscular body, towered over the size one would expect from your average wildcat. Its size was so unusual that some viewers began to speculate, could this be the legendary Blue Mountain Panther? Or even Lithgow, a famed giant cat rumored to have roamed the expanses of New South Wales for over 100 years. But one question I have, why is it that this massive cat isn't spotted more often? Is it just elusive? Or does it have some masterful camouflage? Another interesting concept people adopted from the comments is that apparently Australia had private zoos for many, many years. And when the government decided that all those zoos needed to be shut down, the owners were not allotted enough time, and some probably didn't care or didn't want to shut down, but essentially no good way to turn in their animals. So similar to what's happened in Florida in the States with the exotic animals. They're just released into the wild and we kind of see what happens. In April 2009, Michael Green captured a 3-minute video with a thermal imager in the Uwharrie National Forest in North Carolina. A retired chief investigator, Green had been on a 2-decade-long quest for Sasquatch and thought he had finally found concrete evidence. Having caught a glimpse of the creature in the forest in 2008, he spent the next year returning to the site, setting up camp, and leaving out treats like bananas, apples, peanut butter, snack bars, and even squeaky toys. This footage has actually earned the nickname of Squeaky Thermal. His perseverance seemed to pay off when, late at night on April 28, 2009, he heard sounds from the woods. He prepared the thermal imager on a tripod, connected to a digital video recorder, and moved away to wait. After 2 hours, he returned to find the imager's battery dead, but the bait was missing. So this thermal imager, obviously it detects heat, but for example, the heat distribution in a man in a costume would be uneven due to the insulation effect, while a living being, like a naked man or some type of animal, would appear in a more uniform color. In the footage, the figure Green estimated to be around 7.5 feet tall took a snack bar, then moved back and forth in a swaying motion. This brings up an interesting point. The creature's behavior and thermal signature seem quite natural, not like someone in a costume. Could this really be a genuine Sasquatch sighting? Or is this just another unexplained phenomenon? It's definitely a compelling addition to the cryptic captures, and you can't help but wonder if Green's dedication might have just unveiled a hidden truth of the forest. But the only thing that really gives me pause, how do you let the battery die? I mean, if you've made this your life's mission, you've got to give yourself more than 2 hours worth of battery life. I don't know, the footage is pretty cool though. This next clip shows amazing footage of a cougar attacking a deer on a trail camera. It's amazing how stealthy they can be. You see the deer jumped and tried to break free, but that's not going to happen. The homeowner reported that the cougar came for 3 days and ate off the kill. On the 4th day, however, 2 bears showed up and dragged what was left away. Great footage to catch on a trail camera. In this clip, we see a lynx that has been brought to the area by the smell of frozen remains of a northern deer. He sniffs around and eventually locates them under a nearby tree. The only problem with this is that this kill seems to have already been spoken for. Resting in an adjacent tree is, it looks like a bobcat. They're distant cousins. But even a good-sized bobcat is dwarfed by the size of this lynx. I've said this before, but except for mountain lions, people living in the United States, we don't face the threat of being attacked by these enormous, frightening, large cats, such as lions and tigers. The potential man-eaters, so to speak. Of course, mountain lions can do that, but there have been cases of people surviving and even killing mountain lions during attacks. But I digress. This next clip doesn't feature any people, but we do get to see a Bengal tiger in action. These wild gowers that roam the countryside are the perfect home run takedown to provide a lot of meat for this tiger to eat. And very quickly in the video we see something strange. The male gaur flips the female gaur over and off her feet with his powerful horns, all but freely offering her up to the tiger. Sorta looking like he was saving himself and sacrificing her. We've seen similar behavior in another video I made when a pack of wolves were attacking a herd of buffalo. Experts will tell you that it would be highly unlikely that the male would sacrifice the female gaur to save himself. Herd animals, and male gaurs specifically, are highly protective of their herd. In fact, gaur bulls are known to be highly aggressive towards predators and have been observed to actively chase and attack tigers and other large carnivores to protect their herd. However, in some rare cases where a gaur is unable to fend off a predator and is at risk of being killed, it may attempt to flee and leave behind weaker members of the herd. I don't believe what we are witnessing would be considered a deliberate sacrifice, but more rather a survival instinct. At least that makes me feel a little better about this interaction. However, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Before this video was triggered, off camera, this owl swooped down and procured himself a nice little field mouse and is on his way back to his nest in an adjacent tree. But all of a sudden, 2 falcons rush in, like the Secret Service, and corral him to the ground. The outnumbered owl tries to stand up for himself and puts up a fight, but I think he smartly realized he was outmatched and at a significant size disadvantage, not to mention 2-on-1. The falcons calmly wait for him to give up. Then they gather his kill, pick it up, and carry it off to enjoy. Captured in this astonishing CCTV footage, we see a peaceful street with a few cars parked on the side of the road. However, out of nowhere, things quickly take an unexpected turn. Highlighted, you can see that a fish falls out of the sky and lands straight onto one of the vehicles. The impact is so loud that it grabs the attention of one of the neighbors, and a curious woman comes over to investigate. This is pretty crazy. What could this be? I mean, it really could only be a hawk or a falcon carrying this fish, right? And then it drops it. I'd be all ears if anyone else had any other explanations. The entire scene is quite comical and leaves everyone perplexed. According to statistics provided by the Wildlife Federation, cougars end up with the upper hand in almost all confrontations against predators or prey of equal size. They either come away with the kill or they don't back down from their opponents. As you see here, the cougar and the bear are sizing each other up. The bear's much bigger, but the cougar has a strong bite and is capable of doing some damage. The bear is much bigger. It's clear that the cougar is not afraid of him. As the bear approaches the cougar cubs, the mother rushes to their aid. She immediately drives away the big-pawed predator, checking on her little ones. She was able to scare the frightened bear up a tree. In another moment of this encounter, you can see the bear standing up on its hind legs, trying to make itself look bigger. But as the cougar swats and scratches, the bear figures he might as well just cut his losses and quickly runs away. This next clip is pretty strange if I do say so myself. A bystander films the moment a young buck became wedged under a vehicle on a major highway in the city. The filmer said the deer was running full speed trying to cross the road and slid on its hooves and got stuck under this man's SUV. Luckily, he and another kind man slowly jacked the vehicle up, and the deer was able to pull itself out. The deer seemed pretty unfazed. Once he's freed, you can see him, just kind of looking around, standing around, until he eventually ran off safely. Pretty crazy thing to catch on camera. As we all know, sloths are, well, they're sluggish creatures. They typically spend their entire life high up in trees. Unfortunately, one such sloth found itself in a precarious situation when it was spotted by a hungry cougar. The big cat attempted to climb up the tree, but the trunk's slippery surface made the climb a difficult one. Even though he had tried multiple times, the hungry cougar refused to give up and actually went to sharpen its claws to improve its grip on the tree. Amazingly, the tactic worked, and he was able to reach the sloth and pull him down from the tree. In a creepy video caught on camera, a gentleman explains that around 2 a.m., he gets a notification on his phone. Apparently, his camera has picked up movement outside his house, more specifically near his pool. He thought he might have some late-night visitors trying to take a dip. He pulls up the footage on his phone and watches it a few times, thinking his eyes are playing tricks on him. He screen recorded it and zoomed in, and it appears a potential ghostly figure can be seen. The figure runs through his yard and into his neighbor's yard. Check out what he found. What do you guys think of this footage? Is it just a person running down the sidewalk or through the yards? One viewer mentioned it could be a spider spinning a web in front of the camera, causing the appearance of something bigger in the distance. Could it really be a ghost? The man explains his home has experienced some unexplainable activity as well. He mentioned that while he's at work, his indoor cameras had picked up movement every day at the same exact time in his daughter's room, even though no one was home. Could this apparition be the ghost of a child that wants to play in the pool or with his daughter's toys? Let me know what you all think. In this next clip, Squatch Watchers is on site to examine a creature that was photographed by Joe Hunt. This photograph was taken from a hunting area that Joe has hunted in for 15 years, and he just can't explain what it is. David and Taylor traveled to interview the man, and they believe the creature could be a Sasquatch, even mentioning that they have captured thermal footage of a similar creature in the same area while they were on a hunt. Although some viewers that have seen the photo claim that it might be a bear, many others are convinced that it is not. a man named Delbert is introduced. He's another hunter from the area that has hunted these parts since he was 11 years old. And all he can come up with is that this creature is a primate based on the joint in its foot. He doesn't believe that this creature could be a hoax because it would be way too dangerous to dress up as an ape in this hot weather and in an area that is well known for its hunting. The foursome definitely agrees it is not a bull elk or a bear or a rogue domestic cow. Here's the picture that Joe Hunt captured. Furthermore, Delbert reveals that he was a non-believer in Bigfoot for his entire life until he saw Joe's picture. He's convinced now. And Joe, the photographer of the creature, seems to be open-minded about the creature's identity, stating that it's up to them to decide what it is. He's not married to it being a Bigfoot, he just doesn't know what it is. The group goes on to discuss the location where Joe captured the picture, which used to be privately owned but is now part of the South Mountain State Park. Squatch Watchers knows this place very well. Their team have been to this area before and believe that it could be a hot spot for Bigfoot sightings. So what do you guys think about this creature in the photo? I'd be interested. It definitely does not look like something native to the area. I can't place it. The longer hair and of course the jointed feet that the guys mentioned are two pretty sturdy clues. As most people, I'm sure, I always like to hear from the person involved in the encounter. It allows you to get a good sense of their demeanor, their personality. Do they seem like they're hungry or starved for attention? Or genuinely interested in getting to the bottom of what the creature is, no matter what? In my opinion, I think Joe falls into the latter category. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts, and go check out this video on Squatch Watchers. The guys dive more deeply into it and give some convincing arguments. Nevertheless, an awesome Trailcam capture. This is pretty creepy footage out of West Virginia. Now, before anyone tries to say this is an alien or something, I'm pretty sure it's just a spider's legs. At first, I thought it might have been whiskers of an animal, but I'm going with the spider theory. Let's watch it again and let me know what you think. These next clips are really fascinating. They've come from an awesome channel named the Ocho Verde Wildlife Channel, and they show amazing trail camera footage from the rainforest. which I find particularly interesting being from the United States. We don't get to see any of these animals. The anteater is probably my favorite. What a strange animal. Anyhow, let me know which one is your favorite in the comments. And check this guy's channel out, it is amazing. This incredible video showcases an epic battle between some wolves and a giant black bear. The wolves have a den nearby and they're protecting their precious little pups. The pups are only a few weeks old, but the powerful pack instinct of the wolves to keep them safe is on full display. Despite the bear's imposing size, it realizes that it's not worth it to go against this fiercely protective family. This was a great camera capture. It's actually shot from multiple angles, so you can capture the full viewing experience. This is a pretty crazy video here. A hawk has dive bombed a makeshift chicken coop looking to score an easy meal. After things don't go as planned, the hawk tries to abort the mission, but he's stuck. He can't seem to get out of the enclosure, and the roosters are on him. They're determined to make him pay. They chase him into the hen house where they ultimately go out of camera view. Man, those roosters were not intimidated at all. I really wonder what the end result of this was. A person exploring the forest of Immerse took a video, and it was a little disturbing. They walked upon a structure made of branches in the middle of the forest. At first glance, one might think it was made by kids playing, or even just a person seeking shelter for the night. However, upon closer inspection, the person recording the video noticed small twigs tied up in different formations, as if someone had been trying to create strange symbols. What do you guys make of these? I don't know enough about them to know if they're satanic, but what's even scarier is at the end of the video. The recording captures someone running away in the woods. Of course, the recorder didn't pursue them. Anyhow, the rumor has it that Immerse has a history of rituals and strange sightings. What do you guys think? In this scene, a female elk bravely defends her calf against a pack of wolves in the water. The pack of wolves are using cunning tactics to engage in a struggle with the female elk. To avoid the wolf pack, the mama elk takes the initiative and jumps into the river with her calf. At first, the female elk relies on her size and strength, not necessarily taking the wolf pack seriously. Although she doesn't have the large antlers of a male elk, her powerful limbs are also effective weapons. A kick from her could cause a lot of damage and even be fatal. While she's trying to fend them off and protect herself, her most important priority is keeping her calf safe, who is the true target of the wolf pack. At this point, the wolf pack has begun to wade into the water towards the elk and her calf. The mother elk takes the attack to the wolf pack to protect her calf. The wolf pack begins to use their tactics on the elk. Their strategy of retreating when the enemy advances and attacking when the enemy is vulnerable. They constantly harass and pursue her. Through years of hunting experience, the pack's coordination is impressive. You can see as they take turns attacking, not giving the mama elk any chance to catch her breath. She's becoming exhausted. Her physical and mental strength are draining. She even forgets about her calf for a moment. Seizing the opportunity, the wolf pack pounces on the calf, ready to bite. Fortunately, at the last minute, the female elk steps in. Although the wolf pack has strength in numbers, and that's a big advantage, they still do not dare confront the female elk head on. No one wants to be kicked by her. But they also cannot give up their prey. They adjust their strategy once again. We can see the female elk is infuriated and launches a powerful attack on the wolf pack, causing them to scatter. However, blinded by this rage, she makes a huge mistake while driving away the wolf pack. Her calf cannot keep up with her footsteps, and the wolf pack sees an opportunity to attack.
And wave after wave of wolves keep coming. The female elk has no time to rest. Facing such organized and disciplined, strong wild wolves, it is almost impossible to escape. Finally, the wolf pack sees the opportunity and takes the calf. The mother wants to rescue her child, but she's missed the best time. She can only watch as her calf is dragged ashore by the wolf pack. Another harsh, cruel reality of the animal kingdom. I stumbled upon this video and read the comments, and a few viewers I encountered thought this was pretty funny. However, I have a feeling the Wolverine didn't see it that way. A man living out in the wild in Russia caught this video of a wolverine with a bucket on its head being chased by a hungry wolf. Now, I've shown some videos recently of wolverines, and I think we can all agree they are nothing to mess with. But the wolf just can't help himself. He sees that the wolverine is at a distinct disadvantage, and he's ready to make him a meal. The wolverine does a pretty good job staving off the wolf, considering he can't even see. The camera operator did say that the wolf tried to attack the wolverine a little more aggressively, but eventually the wolverine shook the bucket off his head, and he was able to defend himself now. Both of them ultimately went their separate ways. Here's some really interesting footage. This deer passing by triggers this motion trail camera, but that's not the end of it. Take a look at what else the camera captured. In the background, you can see a strange, tall, column-like object passing by very quickly behind the deer's back. It was so fast that the deer barely had any time to react, except to look scared in its direction. I'm not quite sure what that thing was. The owner of the video jokingly suggested that it might be a pile of rocks walking by, but that's definitely not what it is. Anyhow, I'm just as baffled as you are. If it was just a glitch, then why did the deer react so strongly to it? If it were a glitch, he wouldn't even notice. Anyhow, I'll keep you updated if I find out more. I'm just going to let this video of this Black Panther and leopard play, but I'm curious who you think would win in a fight. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to issue a warning. Some people might not like the next video clip. Now, I've seen this video a few times and I really wasn't sure if I should put it in. However, when you break it down, it's really a story of never giving up, of grit, of determination, and it's less about the attack. So on this outdoor camera, you see this squirrel just enjoying some food, when all of a sudden, boom, the hawk swoops in and snatches this unexpected squirrel. It looks like his days are numbered, but watch what happens. The squirrel is able to somehow break free and the hawk flings him. Unreal. The squirrel walked away, and honestly, I wasn't thinking he would survive. But a few days later, look who it is. Mr. Squirrel,
back at the same spot. And look on his body. He's wearing the battle scars proudly. As we rewind and watch the part where the hawk flings the squirrel off to the side, what do you guys think happened? The squirrel had to have bitten him. That's all I can think of. Great camera capture. Let me know what you guys think. This next clip is very interesting and not something I necessarily knew that happened. As you can see, a bear has acquired a moose carcass. Whether he killed it or found it, I don't know. You can see him trying to bury it next to this stream, while a few wolves stand by salivating. The bear grabs the disturbed earth, trying to cover him up. When he thinks he's done a good enough job, he heads off. Clearly that was not a good enough job because the wolves quickly moved the dirt off and had a feast. When they were finished, it was the vultures' turn, and they destroyed it, eventually pulling and prying and dragging it into the stream. Just a great camera capture. CCTV footage taken at night in the dead of winter shows a moose pretty close to this home. The homeowner had just left for work when he received a notification on his phone that the door surveillance camera had captured something. To his surprise, he just saw a big old moose standing there in his driveway. Anyhow, he went back to work. But as we can all see, the moose shakes his head vigorously, and suddenly both of his antlers fall right off. The falling antler startled the moose, and he took off. Hours later, the homeowner returned and found the shed lying in the snow on his driveway. He kinda laughed and thought, I wonder if that guy was abducted by aliens. Nevertheless, he couldn't believe his luck. He brought him inside, soaked him, and cleaned him. After a while, he reviewed the surveillance footage, and he got the chance to watch the moose shed those antlers right in front of his house. The man loved his new trophy and just felt grateful for the unexpected gift from nature. I wish I had more backstory on this capture, but what's about to happen is pretty nutty. These chicks are in a cage staying warm from that heat lamp, when out of nowhere, this huge hawk shows up. He flew in from the outside and snatches one of the chicks. It's crazy. The owner said that he edited the video because it was pretty long, but about an hour later, the hawk showed back up and tried again. And you can see the hawk circling the cage. The man said that he did this for a while. Thankfully, he was unsuccessful. But man, these birds of prey, they are savages. Taken in the Philippines, this is a pretty funny video right here. You can see this little pup trying to break up a fight between these roosters. He better watch out. An incredible video taken in Canada where a man and his friend walk up on a deer that has been frozen to death. The man pokes the deer with his rifle just to make sure. Whoa! I guess he's alive. So that deer is just sleeping in the field, covered in snow. The only distinguishable thing were his antlers. Man, he looked like he was sleeping hard too. Canadian deer must just be built different. Let me know about this. I know deer pick a spot and bed down. I've seen that many times. But I don't think I've ever seen them sleeping in the middle of the field with no surrounding protection from people or the elements. I'm curious to hear anyone's thoughts about this.
This clip is just a pretty cool one to me. Training hunting dogs is big where I come from. The instructor has laid out some raw meat in a line, and then funnels her dog out to the courtyard where they face it head on. Watch as all the dogs line up and obey her, not touching the meat. Except for that one little guy with the arrow over his head. He can't help it. He's the class clown. She gives the command for them to eat, and they go wild. Look at the mayhem. Awesome command and control by the trainer and willpower of the dogs. Watch it a few times, and each time, pick a different dog to watch. It's pretty funny. Even the ones that come in at the end.